Have you ever been in a relationship that left you emotionally exhausted? Like no matter what you do, nothing is ever good enough? It's draining, confusing, and frustrating. And yet, you stay. But what if I told you that detaching isn't just an option, it's necessary? In toxic relationships, the emotional detachment is the first step to reclaiming your peace and restoring your sense of self. So let's talk about why detachment isn't just about the last resource, but the key to set yourself free. Toxic relationships don't happen overnight. They are built over time and often through small, seemingly insignificant moments. You see, at first you are invested, thinking if I just try a little while, a little harder, things will change, but they don't. Instead, the relationship turns into a struggle where your emotional needs are overshadowed by someone else's manipulations. One of the reasons we find it hard to leave a toxic relationship is that it creates a sense of emotional dependency. You become so used to walking on eggshells, modifying your behavior to avoid conflict, that your emotional world starts revolving around their needs and not yours. In a toxic relationship, this can manifest as a feeling stuck, like no matter what you do, the outcome will always be the same. You start to believe that you deserve the way you've been treated, and worse, that things won't get better without this person. And why detachment is so hard? Now, there's something a lot of people don't talk about, which is trauma bonding. This is where the highs and lows of a toxic relationship creates a deep addictive connection. It's not about just the emotional manipulation. It's about how your brain gets hooked on the intense cycle of affection and neglect, making it incredibly hard to let go. Trauma bonds form when periods of kindness and or affection are mixed with abuse and neglect. Your mind clings to those small moments of love, hoping they will return, which creates a psychological addiction. The fear of losing those fleeting moments can keep you in a toxic situation for years. In the spiritual sense, trauma bond can be seen as a karmic lesson or a soul contract. These relationships come into our lives to teach us about our own unresolved pain and emotional wounds. And the act of detachment is necessary to break the cycle, release the karmic debt, and create a space for healthier connections to happen. And here is how we recognize the signs of a toxic relationship. In toxic relationships, there is almost always a power dynamic at play. One person is in control, whether it's through subtle manipulation, guilt, or outright emotional abuse, and the other person is left feeling powerless. And here are some indicators that the relationship you're in might be toxic. Emotional neglect. Your feelings, concerns, or needs are constantly dismissed or ignored. Control. The other person controls the key aspects of your life, from emotions to your decisions. Excessive criticism. Nothing you do seems to be good enough, and the criticism feels constant. Unpredictability. This person is emotionally unpredictable. In one moment, they are affectionate, in the next, they are cold and distant. And another one is isolation. You are slowly cut off from friends, families, or other support systems, making you more reliant on the toxic partner. The scariest thing is you might not even realize that this is happening until you're deep into the relationship. Toxic partners are skilled at gaslighting, making you doubt your reality. They twist situations to make you feel responsible for their behavior, keeping you trapped. And why detachment is necessary? Detachment in this context isn't just about protecting yourself, it's about reclaiming your emotional autonomy. You know, toxic relationships feed from your emotional investment, and the more you care, the more vulnerable you become to the manipulation. Detachment is about saying, I no longer give you the power to control my emotions. Because you see, when you are in a toxic relationship, your emotional regulation becomes compromised. You might find yourself reacting to everything, whether it's their moods, their criticism, or even the absence. So detachment helps you to regain control over your emotional responses. It creates an emotional distance that allows you to see the relationship for what it is, not what you hope it would be. You see? So instead of getting swept away into the chaos, detachment lets you set the terms of your own emotional investment. And with that, you're no longer reacting to their behaviors. You see, you're choosing to respond based on your own emotional boundaries. And now, I would like to share 5 practical steps to help you detach and rebuild your self-worth. And the first one is to recognize the reality. One of the first steps to detaching is accepting the reality of the situation. You see, it's time to stop hoping that things will change. Because once you see clearly the relationship for what it is, manipulative, controlling, and emotionally draining, it becomes easier to separate yourself from it. Next, rebuild your identity. Toxic relationship often erodes our sense of self. You spend so much time trying to meet someone else's needs that you've kind of forgotten your own. So detachment is about rediscovering who you are without that person. Reconnect with your values, passions, and interests, things that make you feel whole outside the relationship. And practice emotional discipline. This is so important. Emotional detachment isn't about becoming cold or shutting off your feelings. It's about practicing emotional discipline. This means choosing where and how you invest your emotional energy. Every time you feel the urge to respond to their manipulations, pause. Remind yourself that the behavior is no longer your responsibility. And this is a big one. Rebuild your support system. Toxic relationships thrive in isolation. If your support system has dwindled, it's time to rebuild. Reach out to friends, families, or even a therapist who can help you gain perspective and hold you accountable to the decision you made to detach. And this one, focus on self-compassion. The hardest part of detachment often is the guilt that follows. You might feel responsible for the other person's emotions or well-being, but remember this: you are not responsible for saving someone who is actively hurting you. Practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that your well-being matters too. Now, ask yourself, what aspects of this relationship make it hard for you to detach? How has this relationship impacted your sense of self-worth? And what steps can you take today to reclaim your emotional freedom? Detachment isn't really about giving up on someone. It's about showing up for yourself, really. And if this resonates with you, I would love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share your experience with detaching from a toxic experience or relationship. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing, because next Friday I will be talking about setting healthy emotional boundaries in a relationship. You know, and remember this: you deserve peace, and detaching is the first step towards reclaiming. Thanks for watching.